Why do people gods always tell them that God came to them to tell somebody else something, instead of this God coming to tell that person? I recommend that nobody ever believes that bullshit when somebody says that God came and told me to tell you that this is why, or this, that, and the third, because most of it is a bunch of BS. I just recently heard a testimony, if you want to call it that, from a new friend of mine. And her and her husband have been, seeking to have a child for the last 10 years plus. But they have not succeeded in having one. Now, the doctors have told the young lady that there are issues with her reproduction, and this is why it is such a struggle for them to get into a position to be able to have a child. So, of course, she is taking all the measures that are necessary in order to make her body as healthy as she possibly can in order to produce the child. But a lifelong friend who has become holier than thou decided that they were going to come to her and say, hey, God came to me in a dream, came to me in a vision, and told me to tell you that the reason why you haven't had a child is because you are not a holy vessel to be able to have a child. You had abortions in the past, and because of that, that's why you're not able to have a child. You participated in fornication before you got married, and that's why you're not able to have a child, because you didn't have that legal paperwork before you decided you want to have a child. And the person who's telling this has had the same issues in their life, did the same things, had the abortion, did the same thing of fornicating. But because now they're saved, they believe that now they're in that position to be able to tell somebody this, and they've had a child. So now they think they got a one-upsmanship on the person. Oh, see, I had my child because God finally blessed me, but you haven't been blessed because you haven't given in to this God. The sad part about this is that there are many people out there who believe in these types of things, that a person is being punished to not have a child simply because how they've been in their life, how they've acted in their life. If that is the case, how do Muslims have children? And Muslims are having children at a faster rate than Christians. How are Buddhists having children? How are atheists having children? How are all these people who do not believe in your God, they're getting the desires of their heart. They're having these things. They're having babies. They're doing everything. Maybe it has something to do with biology more so than it has to do with some mystical being in the sky who is just saying that, oh yeah, I'm gonna punish you, but I got all these other people who don't even believe in me. I'm gonna let them have all the babies and wealth and all these happiness and all these things, but you, I'm going to punish because of your lifestyle that you used to lead. I thought this was a forgiving God. What happened to levels of forgiveness? All this is people utilizing their own personal insight and adding their own versions and ideas of what God is and who God is and what God's mentality is. They will, in one sense, claim that man doesn't know the mind of God or the workings of God, but yet, oh, I had a vision, I had a dream. No, you are speaking based on how you think, how you feel, and the information and the experiences that you have had, and therefore you're trying to place those on other people. That is all that is. Anytime somebody comes to say that, well, God told me, God instructed me, prove it. Prove it. Because beyond that, it is just your words and your words only. And you know what your words mean? Absolutely nothing. Nothing. Especially when they're not backed up by anything other than your feelings and your emotions. So to all the Christians out there, don't let somebody come into your presence and say that God is telling them something to tell you, and yet this God hasn't spoken to you. And then you go off and do something stupid. I have known women who have said that a friend came and told them, you need to go to this conference because God came and told me that your husband is at this conference. And they go to the conference, spend that money, spend that time, give up their vacation days, and they come back with no husband. They don't even come back with contacts. They don't even come back with a phone number. They didn't even come back with, oh, we're friends on Facebook. They come back with absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. I told you guys the story of a young lady God told me that I need to pick up my family and just move to California. And she picked up her family. They moved to California. They had to beg their way to California, literally stopping in Texas, ran out of money, ran out of gas, had to stand and beg to get enough money to make it to California. Get to California. They have to beg to try to survive in California. Called me because I have a friend who lives out there that I'll be seeing next weekend. And just caused all kind of havoc in his family's life because she decided she was going to contact him on her own before I told her it was okay, which made her situation even more difficult because now the access or the help that she could have had, she didn't get. Went to LA, begging, scraping by, children in horrible situations, but yet got no stardom because she wanted to be an actress. Nothing happened. She back living in Florida now. God didn't tell her nothing. That was her own self telling her the wishes of her heart and mind. And then she ran out and followed that. Y'all need to be careful about all that God told me or God told me to tell you. Stop listening to that. Use the brain that you have to critically think through your situations and figure out what's the best case scenario for you to achieve whatever it is you desire to achieve. Running out here without resources, coming to people and telling them what you think based on your life, your experiences, means absolutely nothing. So always remember, you have to free yourself to be yourself because your greatness is non-negotiable. Good journey, good vibrations.